told you you'd never forget this game. You will never forget this game. We don't have to talk about how tough we are. We don't have to talk about how resilient we are. We live it, man. We've been living it. Where's our defense at? Offense, that's the way to step up, man. That's the way to step up. There you go, Skip. Keep throwing up, whatever you're doing up there. That's the way to freaking lay it on the line. Guys, I'm so freaking proud of you, man. That's the way to show up. You talk about pressure, we live in pressure. That's where we freaking thrive. You did it again. You did it again. All right? It doesn't matter who's playing for us. It doesn't matter what's going on. You always find a way to win. That's what champions do. This is not happenstance, man. This doesn't just happen. This has been in the making, man. This has been in the making, all right? We are all supposed to be here together, man. We're destined for this. Just stay the course. That's 12, and that's 4 in the division. All right, I got 2 game balls, all right? First one here, 6 receptions. I can't read this first one. I'm going to say 43 yards, 2 tugs. His first one since 2021. Jared Patrick.
Thank you guys, man. Thank you for embracing me. It's been a hell of a ride the past 2 years, and I wouldn't want to go on this ride with anybody else but y'all. Appreciate y'all boys.
All the stats you need is he won the freaking game again. Jake Bates.
Hey, I freaking love you guys, man. Let's get 13 next week.
Yes, hey, you guys are warriors. You're warriors. Good win. Break it down.
Elbow, forearm, he's going to be down.
The result of the play is a touchdown. And the flag that was thrown on this was picked up.
I don't know, did it get the face mask?
Only do that if you're telling the official you're reporting.
The Lions hangover.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Brad, and you are listening to the Lions Hangover Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Please find me on all social medias. You've got your X, Instagram, and Facebook. Yeah, I think I did that right. Please also, wherever you are listening to this podcast, please rate, subscribe, follow along, +sign, heart sign, whatever you got to do. Just make sure you keep listening to all the episodes. I greatly appreciate it. I can't stress enough how much that helps me out and how much I love you guys for doing it. All right. Lions go to 12-1 on the season. 12-1. I don't think I've ever in my life, in fact, I know I have never in my life said that the Lions have been 12-1 at any point in my life. At any point in their existence have they ever been 12-1, but it's happened now and we are alive for it. Of course, they beat the Packers by a score of 34-31. I was really close in my prediction. I said 38-34 Lions. I thought they'd cover the spread, but they did not cover the spread. The Packers fall to 9-4. They maintain their third place spot in the division. Oh, sucks to be you. Sucks to suck, Packers. All right, Lions got things going with a David Montgomery 3-yard rush, giving the Lions a 7-0 lead. In the second quarter, Jake Bates kicks a 43-yard field goal, making it 10-0 Lions lead. And then Josh Jacobs, he gets his 1-yard touchdown rush, making it 10-7 Lions. I don't think the whole time in this game I was ever comfy, but I also just believed the Lions were going to win. You know, throughout the game, it didn't seem like the Lions could stop them whenever they wanted, but at the same time, they stopped them whenever they needed to do. We'll talk about the game in just a second. Let's get through this scoring stuff here. Next, with 11 seconds left, Jahmyr Gibbs gets a 2-yard pass from Jared Goff. Of course, that makes it 17-7 going into the half. Lions kick the ball off, and Tucker Kraft gets a 12-yard pass from Mr. Jordan Love, making it 17-14 early in the third. Next thing you know, Josh Jacobs has a 6-yard rush, making it 21-17. Packers lead for the first time today. Then finally, all season, his first touchdown. You heard it there with Dan Campbell at the beginning, that super long audio clip from the Detroit Lions. Mr. Tim Patrick gets his first touchdown as a Lion, his first touchdown since 2021. I believe that's what he said. Giving the Lions the lead back, making it 24-21. Next, early in the fourth quarter, Josh Jacobs, he runs it in from 4 yards, making it 28-24 Packers. Next, Tim Patrick, not one, but 2 touchdowns on the day. Welcome to the Lions, buddy. You've earned it. If there has been a player on our team so deserving of a touchdown, it is definitely Tim Patrick, and I am glad he got 2 touchdowns. And for a while, I was wondering if he was going to get 3, honestly. I was like, you can do it, buddy. He had a good game, and as you heard, he had 1 of 2 game balls from Coach Dan Campbell today. That gave the Lions the lead again, 31-28. Sucking in a lot of air right now. Next, we have a Brandon McManus 32-yard field goal, tying the game at 31 each. And then, with no time left on the clock, as the ball splits the uprights, Mr. Jake Bates, Mr. Golden Leg, with the 35-yard field goal, giving the Lions the 34-31 victory. How about it, kids? How about it? All right, so we have some flowers here. I have some stats. I have some opinions. So let's get through this stuff here. Let me find it. Okay. Jared Goff. Here's a flower for Jared Goff. He's the first ever Lions quarterback to throw 25-plus touchdown passes in 3 consecutive seasons. So for 3 years, we've had at least 25 touchdown passes from Mr. Jared Goff. I have another flower for him. He has completed at least 5 passes to 6 different receivers in a game, and this is the first quarterback in NFL history to do this, which is something else I want to talk about. The Lions' ability to spread the ball around is just unbelievable, and this is where all of these injuries on defense that we've had, and I'll talk about that in a second too, because there's something kind of amazing going on with all of our injuries, believe it or not. It's kind of bragging rights in a weird, sick, twisted way. But the Lions, let's knock on wood here. Okay, I just knocked on wood. I don't know if you could hear it. But with all the injuries that the Lions have sustained, it's mostly been on defense. And this has been sort of a big deal because we've maintained enough depth on defense to keep our winning ways happening, but our offense has been able to keep rolling. We have one of the top 3 offenses in the NFL. I mean, just from the eyeball test. I'm not looking at any stats right now, but you tell me what offense in the NFL you'd rather have on any given Sunday, and I feel like the Lions are going to be like in the top 3 of that survey poll, you know? So with that happening, we've just been able to keep it going. You know, Jared Goff spreads the ball around. Montgomery, Gibbs, they do their thing, man. It's just unbelievable on how awesome that we've been. You know, our offense, I know Gibbs has gone over 1,000 yards, 1,000 yards this year from scrimmage. I think Montgomery is coming up to that. We can look at his stats in just a second. But here's something I wanted to mention about the Lions' injuries. Heading into last night's game, no other NFL team has had more than 7 defensive players on injured reserve. Detroit has 13. 13 players are on IR for the Lions. Now, thankfully, we're going to start getting some of these guys back. You know, and I know Aleem McNeil went out. He's in concussion protocol. Hopefully he can make it back for the Bills game if he can clear concussion protocol, because now we got 10 days. We get a little bit of rest now. We get guys that are able to, you know, get a little bit healthy. I got to fix this mic here. 1 second. There we go. You know, we get guys that are going to have a chance to get healthy. Brian Branch went out with some cramping, so, you know, he'll be back. He should be back. I have no idea what the hell happened to Emmanuel Mosley. I didn't see him for the 4th straight week now, I feel like. I never saw him on the field. If he played at all, it was just probably special teams. I'm not sure what is going on. However, the Lions brought in these guys. It's almost a no-name defense at this point. Now, we've maintained, you know, Aleem McNeil has been there, with the exception of him going out last night. Now we have Zadarius Smith, which huge sack. First play of the game, huge sack. First play on the game for the defense. huge. It needed to be him. I was hoping he would get a few sacks, honestly, but it really needed to be him. I thought the Lions' defensive front pressure was all over Jordan Love for the better part of the game. I thought they did a really good job of letting their presence be known. Also, I love our fans. I think we have great fans. It was so loud in there last night. It really showed. How many times did they have to call a timeout? How many times was there like a false start or a delay of game? I think like 3 or 4 times last night, we let our presence be known as a crowd, a home field advantage. And I got to think that was a bit intimidating for them. You could really see that they struggled, with the sound in there, and it was loud. It was so loud. It was probably top 3 games as far as sound goes this season. It was one of the loudest I've ever heard. And there were plenty of Packers fans too. I don't want to say a lot, but there were definitely plenty of Packers fans there. I know I sat, they were all cool. I had no problem with them. I gave them, some crap a little bit, but yeah, sorry about all the coughing, guys. I'm just trying to breathe. Do you want to go over this injured list, though, real quick? I mean, we all know it, but we got Anzalone, David Bada, Derek Barnes, John Kaminsky, Marcus Davenport, Aiden Hutchinson, Nate Lynn, Ifeatu Melifonwu, Kyle Pecco, Ennis Rakestraw, Jalen Reeves-Maben, Malcolm Rodriguez, and Mekhi Wingo. These are all of the players just on defense that are on IR. So hopefully we start getting some of these guys back. Anzalone will be back. He's got to be halfway through right now, so he'll probably be back at the start of the playoffs is what it is. And you can remain optimistic if you want. Like, I think Hutch will come back in the playoffs too. I don't think Hutch will be back before the Super Bowl. I kind of don't want him back before the Super Bowl, but, because you're gonna ride off of his energy, and he's going to give your team a boost. Not that he doesn't bring energy every single game, but I just feel like his boost will be felt to the entire team. And, should they make it to the Super Bowl, I think it's going to be felt in the crowd too, to the point where I can guarantee a victory. The day he comes back, I'm guaranteeing that victory. So let's keep it up that way. Defensively, I thought their pass defense played really good. They played solid. I personally do not feel that was a pass interference call on Terrion Arnold, the deflection that ended up being an interception for Carlton Davis. I don't think that was pass interference. I thought it was legit. It was just regular defense. I've seen worse. I don't think the refs were horrible, but I don't think they were great. A lot of the things that they called I thought were kind of weak. Some of the games were some of the penalties were just straight up. It's like clearly that was a penalty, the offsides, false start, all that stuff, illegal procedure, whatever. I'm not a fan of the illegal hands to the face. I can't remember who that was, but I think it was defense. It was a defensive penalty, illegal hands to the face. I think that was a pretty weak call. I can't think of too many other specific things, but like I said, I don't think they were great, but I don't think they were necessarily horrible either. All right, so let's go over these stats. Jordan Love, he went 12 for 20 with 206 yards, 1 touchdown. I thought for sure we would get that interception. Like I said, that interception was overturned from that pass interference call, but that was, that fake pass interference call. He finished with a 111 quarterback rating, which, he had a pretty decent day. 12 for 20, though. I thought he would have passed a little bit more. Overall, I thought their offense was kind of weak. Josh Jacobs, he ran the ball 18 times for 66 yards. I feel like that's a bit of a victory. It felt like he did more damage because he did have 3 freaking rushing touchdowns. But as far as productivity yards to carries, I feel like the Lions did a pretty decent job of containing him. Jordan Love did burn us a few times. He carried the ball 4 times for 23 yards. Only 5 guys caught the ball. Actually, only 4 guys caught the ball. Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, Tucker Kraft, Ben Sims, and Jalen Reed was targeted, but he did not come up with a catch. Christian Watts, though, he led the team with 114 yards off of 4 catches. Dontavian Wicks had 4 catches for 49 yards. Tucker Kraft, I thought he had a decent day. I thought he had 2 touchdowns, but apparently it was just 1. 3 catches for 41 yards and that touchdown. We did have the fumble turnover from Christian Watson, and Isaiah McDuffie led the team with 15 tackles. Quay Walker, second place with 10. Kayshawn Nixon. I'm sorry, dude. I don't know how to say your first name. I've never seen it written before in front of my eyeballs. They did have 1 sack on us. That was Rashawn Gary. Overall, I thought their defense did a great job of containing the run game. Statistically, I think Jared Goff had a good game, a decent game. We'll get to his stats in just a second, but I don't think it was his sharpest game. Looking at it, Laporta had a decent game, but he did have that 1 drop. But man, he had some unbelievable catches. Again, I think partially because I don't think it was Goff's sharpest game. So there had to be a lot of crazy catches, a lot of diving catches, But overall, great game. Jared Goff, though, let's get to his stats. 32 of 41 for 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 sack for a loss of 3 yards, quarterback rating of 109.7. David Montgomery ran the ball 14 times for 51 yards. He had 1 touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs ran the ball 15 times for 43 yards. Amon-Ra St. Brown ran the ball 1 time for 10 yards, and Jared Goff had 4 carries for 7 yards. As a team, they had 111 yards. The Packers, though, as a team, had 99 yards. So, hey, we kept them underneath that century mark. Jamison Williams, I thought he would have a big game. I thought he'd get a touchdown. He did get the 5 catches that I was thinking, but he only got 80 yards. I was thinking he was going to get 120. Sam Laporta caught the ball 5 times. Tim Patrick caught the ball 6 times for 43 yards with those 2 touchdowns. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 5 catches for 43 yards. Montgomery, 5 catches for 33 yards. That's pretty good, man. Jahmyr Gibbs caught the ball 6 times for 30 yards. So that's spreading the ball out. That is diversity, man. Brock Wright was targeted once, but he didn't get a catch. But everybody else had 5 or 6 catches, So that's pretty unbelievable. Those 6 guys, 5 or 6 catches. So that's just amazing. It's just, just the threat. Every single one of those guys, Williams, Laporta, Patrick, St. Brown, Montgomery, Gibbs, which one of those guys are you thinking is not going to get a touchdown? You probably would have said Patrick based off of how the season has gone up until this point, and he was the one that had the 2 touchdowns. So, I don't know, just a solid game overall. By the offense, you score 34 points. It's hard to say that the offense didn't have a great game. I don't think the run game looked like we wanted it to look like. I do have some problems with Ben Johnson with the 4th down play calling. I know it worked out once. It didn't work out the other time when they're just trying to run up the middle. I don't think that's the way to go. I'm not a big fan of the sweeps. What was it? The quarterback sneak. The quarterback sneak worked like two or 3 times last night. And it was working. Why not do that every single time? I think every time they went for it on 4th down, it was 4th and short. Why are you trying to get fancy? We got so lucky at the end, man, and I was freaking scared. But we were already tied. I know the thought process was you don't want to give Jordan Love or the Packers the ball with any time left. You just don't want to give them any hope. So we already had the tie. We were already going to overtime. It's not like we were playing. It's not like we had to do that or the game was over and we were going to lose. We at least had overtime. We knew that, or at least we had the chance for overtime because Green Bay would have got the ball back. No problem with Dan Campbell going for it. I get it. We've been burned before by the Packers, mostly by Aaron Rodgers and the refs. Yeah, I said that. But I understand. We've been burned before. And I think at that point, it's give me that freaking first down. Like, don't come back here until you give me that first down. It's like one of those things where it's like, go out there. It was one of those impose your will on them. And it was just a magnificent run. It was critical, and holy cow, Jared Goff was going to the ground. No defender touched him, so it was never in question as far as did his knee hit the ground first. Like, that was never the case. But we were all so nervous, man. All so nervous. Jared Goff just tripped over his feet, it looked like. David Long Jr., though, he was the recovery on that fumble. I wanted to mention that real quick. Jack Campbell, he led the team with tackles with 8. Al Quadin Muhammad, dude, loved him. I thought he played great. This dude, he might not show up on the stat sheet as much. He was second on the team in tackles, or at least he's credited with second. I think Kirby Joseph is tied with him for 4, but you might not make the impact on the stat sheet, but you make an impact on the game. Like just his presence, he's in the right position. This dude is really coming on strong, and he is filling in when he needs to fill in. I mean, there were so many guys that's like, who's that guy? Who's that guy? Miles Adam, number 66. Yeah, okay. I mean, we've heard of Trevor Nowoski. Quan Alexander. I mean, we know these guys, but come on, they're not regular players on the defense, you know? Jamal Adams, he was new, of course. Jared Goff has credit with a tackle. I'm just seeing that on the stat line. Mitchell Agude, like Pat O'Connor. Like, we know these, well, I mean, I never heard of Pat O'Connor before. You know, the Eastern Michigan alumni, Pat O'Connor, 6'4", 300 pounds. Pat O'Connor, big dude. And, you know, they got to run out of that tunnel. It was pretty sweet, man. They introduced the defense. I know it was the defense's turn of rotation. If you're unfamiliar, the Lions go offense, defense as far as their pregame intros. So next week against Buffalo, it'll be offense. But think of how special that's got to be. You know, you're on the practice squad one day. The next thing you're getting introduced, you're running out of the tunnel. The smoke's hitting you in the face. The crowd's cheering you on. I mean, no wonder that first drive on the defense, they were so amped up. And Zadarius Smith, man, with that sack, that was unbelievable. And he was so close to getting more sacks throughout the game. I can't believe we were actually only credited with 1 sack, and that was Zadarius Smith. So, excuse me. Jake Bates, he went 2 for 2 with his field goals, his longest being 43, and he was 4 for 4 with those extra points. Jack Fox only punted the ball twice. Never inside the 20. That's kind of a bummer. But he did punt the ball twice for 92 yards, average of 46. There were 63,987 people. Oh, man, we're about 1,000 less people than there usually is. What a bummer. What a bummer. Team-wise, Lions had 27 first downs. Packers had 17. We ran 76 plays. They ran 45. Okay, we had 391 yards of offense. They had 298. We both had 10 total drives. We had 280 yards of team passing. They had 199. God, we even kept them under 200 yards passing. Way to go. I know Jordan Love had over 200 yards, but with that 1 sack, it subtracted some yards. Rushing, they only had 99. We had 111, so at least we got over that century mark. We each had 1 turnover. We had the interception. They had the fumble. We had the ball for 36 minutes and 6 seconds, which means they had the ball for 23 minutes, 54 seconds. I can't believe this game was as close as it was. Some of these stats are a little bit lopsided, but it doesn't matter. You got to be able to execute. You got to be able to produce points when you get the chance. We were 4 for 5 in the red zone. They were 4 for 5 in the red zone. We were both penalized 7 times. They had 59 yards in penalty yards. We had 56. I mean, that's pretty even. So you can't say that the refs were biased. I just feel like some of those calls were weak. And I'll just go ahead and say some of the calls on them were weak too. I have no problem saying that if it means they need to do a better job. This was a game we really needed, I feel like, to maintain our lead in the division. So now it's up to Minnesota to lose. If Minnesota can lose this weekend, and let me check who they're playing. Football. Minnesota is playing Atlanta. If Atlanta could please, if Kirk Cousins could please have a revenge game of all revenge games this weekend against Minnesota, we would greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. Just to give us a little bit of breathing room, I am a little worried about the Buffalo Bills game, but in a positive way. We'll talk about that next week when we talk about the Bills. But man, Philadelphia has to lose too. Who's Philly playing? Wow, let's see if we can find out who Philly's playing. Crap. The Eagles are playing the Panthers, so yeah. All right, I will say Bryce Young is playing better since he was benched, but is he playing good enough to beat the Eagles? I'm not so sure. So, but it might be fun to throw a few bucks down, money line straight up. Carolina, you never know. Yeah. All right, we got one more thing to talk about before I disappear for the night. I only got 4 hours of sleep, so I'm doing my best to have some energy here, but my brain is running out of thoughts. Okay, the bobblehead giveaway. I am going to be giving away I'm going to go with Calvin Johnson. I'm going to give away the Calvin Johnson bobblehead this week. The winner will be selected after the Buffalo Bills game, just before the postgame show, so I will have the announcement on that. So if you are listening, please give me a follow on X, and I will post the contest rules. It'll be pinned to my page, Lions Hangover on X, at Lions Hangover on X, and I'll post the rules there. So you just retweet, screenshot showing me that you follow the podcast either on Apple Podcast or Spotify, and then I will just have a random selection. I used this thing called Random Number Selector last time, and it worked really well. So I felt like it was even, it was fair, it was completely random. No idea who won. I mean, I know who won it, and they have received their bobblehead by now, but it's like I don't know them personally. So completely unbiased. So Calvin Johnson will be the bobblehead I will give away, and that will arrive to you, I promise, before Christmas. I shipped it out pretty fast last time. Last time was that Brad Holmes bobblehead. I do have another Brad Holmes bobblehead to give away later this year, and I might hang on to a couple for next season as well. So that's fun. I got my floppy hat last night. It was soft, kind of soft. It was. I feel like it's what Gonzo probably felt like, or maybe Fozzie Bear, except it's blue and not brown. But that's completely unrelated story, really, to anything else I need to say. So that's it for me. Thank you for listening. Wow, what a game. Wow, 12-1. We have guaranteed a spot in the playoffs. I forgot to mention that part too. Playoffs, here we come, but yet, our seed isn't guaranteed yet. We're just guaranteed a spot. We finished 12-5 last year, so we're not going to do any worse than that. But we do have some tough games ahead of us. We got to play the Vikings one more time. We got to play the Bears one more time. We got to play the Niners one more time, and we are playing the Bills. Buffalo Bills. Oh. All right. That's it. Thanks for listening, everybody. I will be back. Let's enjoy this little break. I will be back a week from yesterday. Next Thursday, I'll be back with the preview show for the Bills. All right. Good luck, everybody, with a bobblehead. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.